I polished their silver every morning, my reflection staring back at me from the spoons. They never saw me as more than the help. Mrs. Harrington always found something wrong. Today it was dust on the mantelpiece. Her finger pointed like a weapon. On my knees again, scrubbing what was already clean. They enjoyed watching me work, like I was their personal entertainment. That's when I heard them talking through the study door. Words that would change everything about this family. Tax evasion, hidden accounts, illegal deals. The Harringtons weren't just cruel, they were criminals, but I had no proof yet. I started paying closer attention during cleaning. Mr. Harrington's desk held secrets, but he always locked it before leaving. I crept into the study with only a flashlight. The desk drawer seemed to glow in the dark, waiting for me. The key fit perfectly. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped it. This was my one chance at justice. The drawer slid open. Inside were files, bank statements, and documents with numbers that didn't make sense to me. I took out my phone and started photographing everything. Each click felt like a step toward their downfall. Then I found a false bottom. More documents, including names of people they'd cheated and ruined. My blood ran cold. Footsteps upstairs. Someone was awake. I froze, documents in hand, wondering if this would be my last moment of freedom. I shoved everything back, closed the drawer, and ducked behind the curtains. The footsteps passed by, just someone going to the bathroom. I made it back to my room, the photos safe on my phone. Now I had the power, but what would I do with it? The next morning, Mrs. Harrington criticized my dusting again. But this time, I smiled. She had no idea what was coming. I returned the key exactly where I found it. Mr. Harrington never noticed it was missing. Their arrogance was their weakness. At the public library, I researched everything. Tax evasion, fraud statutes, whistleblower protections. Knowledge became my weapon. I printed the evidence, making copies to send to different places. If one failed, others would succeed. I couldn't risk it all. Anonymous envelopes went to the IRS, local newspaper, and state attorney general. Justice would come from multiple directions at once. I kept cleaning, polishing, serving, but now every task came with a secret smile. The clock was ticking on their empire. A week later, Mr. Harrington got a phone call that made him pale. His confident voice turned shaky. The first domino had fallen. They argued behind closed doors, voices raised about audits and investigations. I listened while dusting the hallway, smiling to myself. The newspaper arrived with the headline, "Local businessman under investigation for major tax fraud." Mrs. Harrington screamed when she saw it. I watched them panic from the doorway. Their perfect world was crumbling, and they had no idea their maid held the strings. 2 days later, IRS agents arrived at the door. Their serious expressions told me this was more than a routine audit. I served them tea, our eyes meeting briefly. They knew I was the source, but protocol kept them silent. My anonymity was safe. They carried out boxes of documents from the study. Mr. Harrington watched helplessly, his empire evidence being carted away. Mrs. Harrington collapsed into her favorite chair, sobbing. The woman who ordered me around like furniture was now broken herself. I stood tall for the first time in that house. Not as their maid, but as a woman who helped bring down criminals. News vans gathered outside the gates. Reporters shouted questions about the scandal. Their perfect reputation was now public shame. I packed my few belongings. My work here was done. Justice had been served, and I could leave with my head high. Mrs. Harrington begged me to stay, tears streaming down her face. "We need you now more than ever," she pleaded. I just smiled. I took my final paycheck from her trembling hand. "Thank you for everything," I said, my voice steady for the first time. I walked out the front door instead of the service entrance. The sun felt warmer on my face than it ever had inside. I looked back at the mansion one last time, not with sadness, but with pride. I had cleaned more than just their house. Weeks later, I saw the news report in my new apartment. Mr. Harrington in handcuffs, being led away. Justice complete. A letter arrived with an IRS seal. My anonymous tip qualified for a whistleblower reward, enough to start my own cleaning business. I rented a small office space. Dignity Cleaning Services, the sign read. I would treat my employees with the respect I never got. I hired other domestic workers who'd been treated poorly. We built a business where everyone had dignity, fair pay, and respect. The local paper did a feature on my business. From humble maid to successful entrepreneur, a story of justice and redemption. I was invited to speak at a women's empowerment conference. My story of turning injustice into opportunity inspired others. I drove past the Harrington mansion months later. A for sale sign stood where IRS agents once parked. Their empire was dust. I started mentoring young Black women interested in business, showing them that no matter where you start, you can finish with power. The community gave me an award for business leadership. From invisible maid to respected business owner, what a journey it had been. I found my old maid uniform in storage, not with bitterness, but as a reminder of how far I'd come and what I overcame. If you're watching this and feeling unseen or undervalued, remember my story. Your current situation doesn't define your future. Dignity Cleaning now employs 15 people, all treated with respect. We've grown because we value people over profit. I keep thank you letters from my employees on my desk. They remind me why I built this business, to give others what I lacked. I still teach cleaning workshops myself. Not just how to clean, but how to conduct yourself with pride no matter the job. Sometimes I watch the sunset from my office window, thinking about that scared maid who found courage to change her life. Never let anyone make you feel small. Your value isn't in your job title. It's in your character, your courage, your heart. We take a team photo every year. Smiling faces of people who know their worth. That's the real success story. The sign swings gently in the breeze. Dignity Cleaning Services. More than a name, it's a promise I made to myself and kept. I turn off the lights, satisfied with another day. From humiliation to empowerment, my journey proves that justice finds its way. If this story inspired you, remember to subscribe for more tales of strength and redemption. Your support helps share these important stories. Never underestimate the quiet ones. We watch, we learn, and when the time is right, we change everything. Thank you for watching.